But thank you guys for joining me today. If you are unaware of what we're here to talk about, we are here to talk about Jonathan Majors and is there an attack on black masculinity? And so in case you don't know where this kind of stemmed from, because a couple of people actually sent me this, I had already had my eye on this article. However, I think a lot of us are blowing it out of proportion. This would only be my opinion. You can think what you want to think on this. I'm going to think on what I want to think on this, all right? But we are here mainly to talk about my boy, of course, Jonathan Majors. Now, if you did not see this Ebony cover, he made the cover and he had a good shoot to where he was actually featured, and this came out around Valentine's Day, right? For me, I didn't see anything wrong with this because I thought it was in representation of Valentine's Day. And for me, for it being on Ebony, I thought, okay, cool. It's Ebony. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm gonna go with that. It's all good. But apparently some of you guys have taken issue with this cover and the things that have come out of this cover, right? So we're gonna go right into it. And this is where the whole shoot was. They show like the wardrobe, they show the whole setup, they show everything on how you say, wait, he ain't gay. No, he not. Nikki just asked, she said, wait, he ain't gay. No, he's not gay. And I think that's where a lot of this misconception has come into when it comes to this whole setup right here. Because whenever you guys see men in pink, or whenever you guys seeing black men in particular doing things outside of the box, that be the first thing they go with. Oh shit, that cover said different. I don't think he is. Don't get me, see, I don't invest in these people's lives like that to really understand, to know, but I don't think he is. You say he could slap me with those roses and I wouldn't be mad. Let me tell you something. Again, when I saw this, I didn't see anything wrong with this. Maybe I was looking at it because I'm more of a creative and I'm more of an artistic standpoint. When I saw this, I saw nothing wrong with this. I see plenty of men from different other cultures wearing and doing things like the black nail polish and things like that. For me, when I first started seeing black nail polish on black men, I equated it to the rock star lifestyle. I equated it to the grunge, gothic type of lifestyle. I never assumed that their sexuality based off of simple nail polish, what they were wearing, because they wear different shit that we would never do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He looked good in pink. Yeah, that's why I was like, I didn't think twice about it, right? But again, you guys have taken issue with it. If you can check in anywhere on YouTube, you will see plenty of videos going in on this man based on this particular photo shoot. But then here comes my stance on how do we address this, right? So now I pop up. My problem is, why are we asking to be in black spaces? Why are we asking for more representation? But then when we give representation in a form that you're not used to, it's, oh, he's this, he's that, she's this, she's that. That's my issue with our community. A lot of the times we're very boxed in and we complain so much about other people boxing us in, trying to control the black image, trying to do things to the black image. But when black people get a hold of our own image and we decide we want to do what we want to do, we get bombarded by our own people with, oh, well, that ain't how men's supposed to act. That ain't how men's supposed to do. This ain't how women's supposed to act. This ain't what women's supposed to do. Why can't we just allow ourselves to be free and be us and be black and be like, okay, this is that sector of blackness. I may not mess with that, but I get it. I get it. And let it, like when I saw young Uzi Vert, I never assumed his sexuality. I just thought he's a rock star. He wears what he wants. Okay, cool. I equate him to somebody like a Lenny Kravitz. Lenny Kravitz never wore conventional clothing. He always wore super tight, like leather pants and boots. And I mean, but he was still a guy. So I was like, that's different. Okay, I can rock with that. And that's why I kind of grew a liking for Lenny Kravitz, because that's my style icon in the rock world. Because that was something I saw different that I wasn't used to, and I never questioned who he was and what he did within his personal life. That's me. I don't know about you, but I know a lot of people have issues with that. Let me read some of these comments. You say, I think his male stylist is a big anime fan. Society, don't get a hold. You're getting ahead of yourself. Hold on, baby. Because I said what I said earlier. I was doing my research. I was doing my research before I came. You're getting ahead of yourself. You said, I think his male stylist is a big anime fan, but tries to dress J Majors exactly like the characters instead of just interpreting the style of real life. I can agree to that. I can agree to that because I'm a big anime fan, and I had already caught this. So let me go ahead and get you to where I'm trying to get you to so you can understand this whole setup, all right? Let me introduce you guys to the flamingo. The flamingo comes from this anime called One Piece. If you're not an anime fan, or if you're not in the realm of anime, knowing and understanding that style, you would not understand this. Now, when you see this now, I want to ask you in the comments, what do you think? When you see this, what do you think now? Because I read the Ebony article, and I read from the stylist and his style and his interpretation of cosplay and his style in trying to incorporate this in the whole theme of, with it being Valentine's Day, with him having a liking for anime styles, and with him trying to incorporate that with blackness. If you are unaware, black people and Japanese people, when it comes to anime, we have that bond. Like, if you're not in that, then you wouldn't know. If you're not an anime fan, or if you have never been around that type of particular style, you would never know this, right? Hold on, let me see some of these comments. She said, I think it's more hugged up with BJ. Okay, I see what y'all talking about now. He said, I bet his daughter loved him wearing pink too. Right. He's created controversy and suspense so he can appeal to everyone. Also, he's from Europe. Right, that was another thing too. Instead of in the article, they addressed going against the grain, expressing blackness, especially from black men, in a different form. And I believe the article read something as, if you are offended by this article, then it's making you reflect on, why does that make you offended? Why are you feeling so up in arms about this particular article and him wearing pink? Because remember, when men first started wearing pink, it was that's a woman's color. Why would men wear pink? Real men don't wear pink. Yada, yada, yada. ABC, 1, 2, 3. It's like, but the majority of them were women and crazy, overly hypersexualized men saying that. How would you know what real men do if you have not done it? If you're not, first of all, if you're a woman speaking on a man, how would you know what real men do? I'm a man. I'm going to do what the hell I want to do. You don't control that. And as far as men, if you're so offended by wearing a particular color, then you need to do some soul searching yourself. Because I've worn a pink shirt before, but it's a particular color type of pink. It's that salmon pink. See, you got to find the right one for your skin tone, and it may change your life. It may light your skin up a little bit. See, y'all be scared to do things like this. But let me go ahead and put this side by side so you can now see the particular styles. Boom. And let me remove myself to show you. Look at this. Bar for bar almost. Look at the style. This came out. They were informing people on social media. Look, this is an homage to the flamingo from One Piece. How do y'all not know if this man does not like One Piece or not? So we captured him in this box, and we're not really allowing this man to explore. He's a creative. When we think about creatives, do we want to still keep them on a straight line of just black and white, or do we want to let creatives be creatives? Because for me, when I see this, and especially when I first saw this, I was like, I knew I saw this somewhere before, but I haven't watched One Piece in years. But I had forgot about the flamingo. When I saw the cape, I was like, that's where that's from. It was the blue pants that was throwing me off, because if you see the flamingo, he wears the kind of pink marble looking pants. They switched up the style a little bit to add a little edge to it with the blue, and then they threw in the pink as well, and they gathered them in the same style and everything, even threw a beanie on them just to, rough it up just a little bit. I wish they would have gave him a longer cape. Then probably people would have caught on to it, because I think with the jacket being so short, you wouldn't have caught that reference, but I did. I just didn't remember which, because I watch a lot of anime. So I didn't remember which anime it was from until I saw this post, and I said, Dad, that's what it was. One Piece. You said he looked fly to me. But here's the thing. Remember back in well, look, we weren't born then, but I think back in the 60s and the 70s, I think they dressed like this. If I'm not mistaken, the black men wore like super fly, crazy, wild, outlandish shit like this back in the day. So for me, it's not odd. I just think fashion repeats itself, and we getting a taste of it in modern times, and now they're modernizing it. To me, it doesn't bother me. You say coochie cutters and all. Look, society, you just beat me too confident. Say them shorts that they used to wear. I remember seeing my grandfather, a picture of my grandfather in some shorts, and them shorts were shout. I'm talking about them. Them coochie cutters. Them shorts was that thigh beat was showing. I said, y'all had them shorts that short, Papa? He said, yeah, we used to wear that back in the day. No, they used to even play basketball with those short shorts back in the day. if you are unaware, even back then, them shorts used to be super, like probably as short. That's why this past summer, I had took advantage of. You know, what was the shorts that the guys we were all wearing, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna throw some real shorts that had the thighs out real quick. I wore them while I was hiking and whatnot like that. But I was like, I like this. I like it. I didn't think of it in a particular way, but that's me though. But see, that's me, and that's the people who decide to want to take that plunge and say, let me try something different. Let me try that. So let me ask you in the comments, how do you feel now that I presented to you the flamingo from One Piece in that style compared to how he's been dressed for Majors? Let me know in the comments. You say, boo. They call, the Hoochie Daddy shorts. Yeah, the Hoochie Daddies, I had like one pair. That's all I said, I'm gonna commit to one pair of Hoochie Daddy shorts. I did. I rocked them hoes, and I said, all right, I'm good. Look, I had even posted it on my stories, and I was like, thigh meat out. And they was like, look at this little thigh meat that he got out. But hey, I had them on though. It is what it is. It's about how you rock this shit. You feel me? Let me ask you though. I'm waiting. You say with Chucks, right? See, us with long legs, we can do that. Them long legs and them shorts, they look good. I ain't gonna tell you. You say, nah, I did hate the ill-fitting suit at the Oscars. I can agree to that. Like, I don't like ill-fitting suits. That I don't. You said I was gonna sit on his face either way. You just a little horny something. I can't do nothing but laugh. You said, I believe they called them Hoochie Daddy shorts. Right. Basketballs in the 70s. Right. So see, to me, it's just history repeating itself. And that's from me being told from my family on and seeing pictures of my grandfather and like the other men, like my uncles, like they used to wear all of that stuff. And like those big boots with a little heel on them. I was like, y'all was wearing a lot of crazy stuff back then. A lot of that stuff they still had that they wouldn't let go. Them big heavy ass suits with them big collars and everything. Sometimes y'all just gotta let men be. Because for me, as long as men doing what they're supposed to do, which is providing, protecting, and loving you and treating you right, why are you caring what the rest of the world say on social media? See, social media has given people so much of a voice, even giving the dumbasses a voice. The people who shouldn't be speaking out loud, the people that should be thinking to themselves only and not speaking out loud to us, we've allowed them to be empowered via social media. So sometimes they control the narrative, unfortunately, and we have to deal with those type of people. But then let me show you something else that may bother you, because I'm not only keeping this to Jonathan Majors. This particular person may bother you with this. So let me play this really quick. This ad came across my feed, and I was confused at first, like, wait, what's going on? I said, they got old boy up in a peplum top, baby. What's happening? We can't. No. See, I just said creative expression, but my nigga, this is where I draw the line. Take it off, the Jaden, take it off, bruh. The bruh, that peplum top. Look, cause I used to work in retail. That's how I know the name. But that peplum top with this little choker, bruh. I like the shoes. I ain't gonna lie to you. The shoes is different. But this right here, this is where Jaden always been a little. You know, he been a little fluid with his dressing and stuff like this. But whenever I see Jaden Smith, I know it's always gonna be somewhere Jaden. Jaden is never going to conform to anything that we all are used to seeing. Let me just say that. So when I saw this come across my feed, I said, oh God, I have to throw this in with the conversation so people can understand the differences. Now, this right here is where I think people are getting, they're kind of meshing is their attack on black manhood and masculinity, right? Because when you start incorporating black men into these fashion houses, we start getting this. We start getting the whole dresses. We start getting, let me actually unleash the other picture. I think, where's that other picture I had? Where is it at? There we go. Let me take that off. When we start doing this is when I start possibly questioning things. When we start wearing full-on skirts and we start wearing full-on outfits, now I don't question anybody in that thing, do you? But see, I think you guys are then starting to mesh what this is right here with what Jonathan Majors had going on. Jonathan Majors' situation is a whole different outtake on dressing the male form in a modern type of style that's combined with cosplay and anime and things like that. And then we have this. This to me is something completely different. And even in this article, I believe Jaden was speaking on bridging the gender gap. Baby, there ain't no gender gap to bridge. You either one or the other. You doing whatever you want to do. But this right here, no sir. No. No, 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 no. No sir, no sir, no sir, no ham, no burger, no cheese, no jelly, and no peanut butter. None of that. None of that. So let's be clear on the differences. Let me get back to the main camera. Let's be clear on the differences on manhood, right? And I'm speaking on that as a man for a lot of women and some men that may be confused themselves. There's a difference between a Jonathan Majors dressing a certain way and being a creative, and then there's a certain difference of a Jaden Smith dressing and trying to bridge the gap in the gender fluidity or the gender expression. You know what I'm saying? That's something I'm not used to. That's something that I do not subscribe to, but I understand because I accept people for who they are and I allow them to be free and do what they want to do. It's not bothering me. It's not harming you. I don't feel, in my sense, it's harming the black male image, but a lot of you do. And I want to know down in the comments, let me know, how do you feel like this is damaging the black male image? Because it's an open discussion. You're allowed to have like a difference of opinion. You're allowed to have these thoughts and truly understand and have these discussions and understand there's not just one way to be a man. There's not one way to dress as a man. There's not one way to protect as a man. There's not one way to provide as a man. As long as you're doing these things, you're still a man, correct? That's my interpretation of manhood. But a lot of us that are stuck in these different forms and a lot of these different social constructs, we tend to not think like that. We tend to only construct ourselves in a box. Because then too, let's take it a step further. Women have modernized, correct? Women are no longer, and I'm not saying all of you, but a lot of you are not in those traditional roles anymore to where you're just staying at home, being an at-home mom, cooking, cleaning, doing your things that an at-home mom does, because that's her zone and that's her job and that's what she does. A lot of women have moved on beyond that and have gone on to not be traditional women. Now that we are starting to see men saying, okay, the response to that would be, I'm not going to be a traditional man. Let me break those social constructs on this spectrum of manhood and let me do that as well. Now you're starting to see a rise of modern men. Now the pushback from that is, we don't like modern man. Well, my dear, we didn't like modern women, and y'all said mind y'all business, stay out of female business, and y'all didn't give a fuck. So I'm telling you, mind your goddamn business. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm gonna tell you to do. Because see, it's cool when you do it. It's cool when you move forward and modernize. It's cool when you dressing and slutting out and doing everything in the streets. But when men start to do it, now all of a sudden we got an issue. Now all of a sudden we want to put the men back in the box and saying men are supposed to be this one particular way. Men are only supposed to be this one thing. You're supposed to dress in the hardest gear. You're supposed to drive a Charger. You're supposed to have a pit bull. You're supposed to be this. You're supposed to have a particular female on your shoulder. If it's anything outside of this, you're not a real man. We see it every day in the blogs. We see it every day in media. We see everything that's being force-fed down our throats, and we're being told what to think about our own culture. If you truly care about black culture, and I'm speaking to my people in particular because I know a lot more people watch it just outside of black people, but if you truly care about black culture, then you would not construct or critique or criticize and minimalize them down to a gender or sex. You wouldn't. Because in other cultures, I see how they allow their people to be like, okay, I don't fuck with it, but I'm gonna let you do what you do over there. Why can't we be like that? Because y'all been doing it. Or was it only okay when y'all had them as your choir directors or when you had them as your hairdressers? What is that the issue? Because I guess it's only cool when they doing your hair and shit, right? It's only cool when they there to gossip with you, right? It's only cool when you feel not threatened by them, right? But see, Jonathan Majors, I think the big scandal surrounding him is y'all like Jonathan Majors. See, if it was somebody y'all didn't give a damn about, y'all, this wouldn't be an issue. Men been dressing like that. It's just that y'all chose to put on the blinders and only see the particular type of man that you wanted to see. That's been a thing, right? But now that the blinders are off, the veil is being lifted. Now, as referring to that Ebony article, it's now questioning what inside you is making you reflect the way that you are towards a Jonathan Majors to make those videos and attack that man. See, I didn't come on here attacking him, nor did I attack Jaden Smith. I said, hey. Now I ain't up with the pleated skirts and whatnot, but you know, do you? The boy got way more money than I probably ever see. Let me not. You know what? Let me back that up. Let me not restrict myself because Let me not do that. Let me not speak that into existence because I'm gonna have the same amount of money as Jaden, if not more. Let me not restrict myself. Nope. Speaking into existence. I want the money. I want the money. Let's shake that shit off. Let me not do that. We don't do that. But let me read some of these comments. You said on site. What I say, Noir? They've been posting shit to tear men down. This is coming from the comments. This is on Clubhouse. You said on site. What I said, Noir? They've been posting shit to tear men down. Unfortunately, I cannot just sit up and say it's one block. It's a lot of them. It's more than one, and it's not just restricted to our blogs. It goes beyond that. I'm talking about all of Instagram, all of Twitter, anybody who has a voice. Anytime they get a chance to be a victim or down a black man or a black woman, let me say that. But this is about the black man today, so let me keep it to the black man. They'll do it. And when I go on these comments, I make a joke, but I try not to dog my own people because I don't want to be a part of that culture. I've been a part of that culture before where I felt like I had to be a part of the group and talk about people. You don't have to be a part of that. You be your own entity, be your own being, and that's truly experiencing all blackness and what it is. That's my opinion on that. But let me read some of these comments. Let me catch up. You say, come on, Money Machine, baby. You got to. Other races been doing it. And that's why I think I never judge us as harshly, especially black men and black women. When I see black women wearing like when Nikki came along, look at how Nikki, this is a perfect example. I didn't even think about this. Look at how when Nikki came and incorporated the Harajuku Barbie when she first came out. I didn't even think about this. It just hit me just now. When she came out with the pink wigs and the colorful outfits, nobody ever questioned her cosplay, ever. That's a strict representation of Asian culture and just how people just was drawn to that. Women went out and bought these big ass colorful wigs. They didn't care whether they looked good in them or not. They wore the hell out of that shit. Men said, okay, I want to have some fun. Men, it's always a thing. Let me tell you something about us. Right? The homies, whenever we had the homies over, what we doing? We smoking weed. I'm an edible guy, so we watching anime and we talking shit. That's black male culture. I know of a few women, not many, that are into the anime culture. It's more of the black men and black women. But I do know some black women, even Big Mama Saturn, me and her used to talk in the DMs about anime that we would watch, right? And so I think that's the confusion. A lot of people aren't experiencing other cultures. And to me, to truly be human, I love learning from other cultures and learning, and certain pieces I'll take from here and there. My home is so eclectic with like a lot of different pieces from different cultures. Like I got something like a Bohemian style. I got something of Japanese style. I have something. I love different things. To me, that's what makes you truly human. I feel like certain cultures and social constructs really is a trap of the mind. If we know that coming and going into slavery, that was the thing. Building social constructs and keeping you in this box thinking, okay, what would have happened if the first slave that ever thought, if a Harriet Tubman never thought outside the box and said, wait a minute, my people aren't supposed to be doing this. I want to be free. If we didn't have Harriet Tubmans and all these freedom fighters and stuff like this, we would still be in that social construct of I'm supposed to be a slave. See, y'all can get that, but y'all can't understand these social constructs on how people dress, how people act, the styles that they pick up. It's for some reason the connection isn't happening. You want to know why? It's because you're so restricted. You're too busy trying to fall into the crowd and listen to everybody else, and too busy trying to pay attention to what the crowd thinks. And I love that how my mother, when I used to be young, she said, I'm teaching you how to dress. You dress how you want to dress. I'm not teaching you how to dress in Jordans. I'm not teaching you how to dress in these particular jeans that everybody have. I'm going to dress you for success. I'm going to dress you for how I want you to dress. I took that into my adulthood, and to this day, I have still never, ever owned one pair of Jordans because of that. And it's always been this rebellious thing with me. Whenever everybody used to like one thing, I said, I don't like that. I'm going to fuck with it when everybody stopped liking it. I used to like this thing over here while everybody else liked this thing over there because my mama had raised me like that. She said, I'm going to teach you how to think differently and go against the grain. That was her job. She taught me that while dad was out making money. She taught me how to go against the grain. She taught me how to dress differently and not always just like everybody else. Now, granted, it's some stuff I like that everybody like, cool. But when it comes to having my own style, that's me all day. Of course, I'm gonna dress in different things, and I see popular stuff, and I make my own version of it. People may not understand it. I'll wear some crazy socks. I got these, you know, my one of my artists that I love is Jean-Michel Basquiat. A lot of people didn't understand the shit that I was wearing from him, but now all of a sudden people started wearing it because it became mainstream. Jay-Z and them had started promoting it a lot more, and then all of a sudden now everybody like Basquiat. My whole bedroom, boom, look at this. I've been had this. My bedroom is Basquiat. I've been had this before everybody else jumped on it, but all of a sudden, now here come everybody else. Y'all claim to be trendsetters. Y'all claim to be these people that are so ahead of the curve, but y'all prove every time how much part of the crowd you really are. Nigga, are you separate or not? Are you different or not? Or are you still have this mob mentality where you just all gotta be in a certain circle, and if everybody don't think like you, then you gotta get kicked out? Because that's what black people do. When we don't think like you, all of a sudden you're Uncle Tom. All of a sudden you a bed wench. All of a sudden you are all these demeaning terms that's been used against us to then turn around and use it against our own people. God, my God, what have they done? They've given us the slave master titles, and now we policing each other. There you go. I'm gonna call it out. So you wasn't expecting this topic to go all around the mulberry bush and come to this topic, huh? So you wasn't expecting that. See, y'all was ready to attack John Majors, right? For those of you who are watching back now, see, I hope a lot of you that have watched all those other videos stay tuned and stayed within this pocket to truly understand the damage that you're doing to your own community. You putting out these videos calling this man gay, you calling this man everything else, without even trying to understand where the style and where the country come from. Did you even try to understand the person that dressed the man? Y'all acting like Jonathan picked out the article, the clothing himself. This was for Ebony magazine. He has no control over the clothes. Now, he probably could have put some input in, but the stylist has the control over that. The creative director has the control over all of that. So I think a lot of the times, we really, really need to think outside the box and really, really contribute to a more positive conversation when it comes to this shit right here. Right? But that's my understanding. Hold on. Let me read some of these comments. You said, I've been trying to find clothes other than fast fashion to buy so I don't look like these other bitches. It's hard. That's facts. It's really hard because with Shein, Fashion Nova, all these other cheap places popping out, it's really hard to be different because the pieces that you really want, the stuff that I really want is expensive. Like the stuff that'll set me apart, that shit is expensive. Like I be buying pieces piece by piece and be like, I get it together when I do. One of the brands that I really love that's expensive, even though it's minimalist, but you know I like minimalist stuff, is Fear of God. Fear of God is super expensive, but it's worth it though, because see, a lot of motherfuckers can't afford Fear of God. I like that brand. I like that. Y'all laugh at Kanye. I'm gonna love whatever Kanye put out. You want to know why? Because I know Kanye is different. Kanye gonna come with something that's gonna be way different than what the fashion industry ever has come about. That's why I'm gonna stand behind him on that sense. Now the crazy Kanye, send him to therapy. I'm gonna say go take a therapy, Kanye, and come back to us when you're good. But to me, I'm so hungry for black luxury and black creatives. I'm gonna bet on my people every time. That's where I'm at with that. I'm never gonna shun my people for being different and creating different designs. Look at the ladies in the comments. Let me know. I always forget this because, of course, I'm never rocking a purse, so I never know this. The black purse brand that start with a T. Let me know what it is. I know y'all gonna tell it because I know y'all gonna know. Hold on. Teflon. There we go. Look, just that quick. She knew it. Teflon. When I first saw that, I was like, oh. Okay, that's different. And then when I found out it was a black brand, I said, oh, that's black. The black people, my people? Okay. All right, cool. And then to find out that our people are actually going in and actually buying this stuff, I felt proud of that, even though it's something that I'm not rocking. Because I said, okay, there's something that we got for us. Bring back more black luxury. Bring back more black items to where we can feel included and say, okay, if I'm rocking luxury, it's going to be my luxury. That's me, though. A lot of people not thinking like that. A lot of people still overly value Gucci, Prada, Louis, and all that shit like that. To me, y'all only value that shit is because black people are being the creative directors and designing that shit. What you mean? That's the only reason why a lot of y'all are even drawn to that. So it's not even them. It's the fact that our people are over there creating. What is that? Pharrell about to go. Pharrell got brought back on for Louis Vuitton, I think. You know that's about to go up. People are already anticipating what Pharrell about to do with Louis Vuitton. So to me, it's like, why do we still keep going to these fashion houses, all these fashion luxury brands, instead of combining what little money we do have together and say, let's start from ground zero, let's build our own, let's do this. Because a Pharrell, a Kanye West, Dapper Dan type stylists, and all those could fuck the luxury game up if they really want to. If they really came together, if we had our own resources and had those individuals, and let me not even just limit it to Kanye and Pharrell. It's a lot more brilliant artists out there that can contribute to a good black luxury fashion house. But we're not hearing that though, because it ain't got them people approval on it. Hate to put it like that, but that's what it is. If everybody else ain't rocking it, y'all don't want it. But see, that's how Jordan started out, and look where that's at now. I'm just saying. Because see, Jordans didn't pick up. If you know the history of Jordans, when I started looking into Jordans didn't try to pick up, because see, the kids weren't trying to wear Jordans back then until they went to the white neighborhoods, and all of a sudden now the black kids want them because they see the white kids wearing them. It was fucked up. But that's how it goes. Y'all like shit rolling downhill. Y'all like secondhand shit. Nah, baby, I want that shit first. Give me the exclusive, baby. Give me that exclusive. I want the shit that ain't nobody else wearing. Send me out into the world with exclusive pieces where it's only 100 of them sold, and I got one of the 100. Give me that. I want fashion like that. It's only 100 pieces made. I'm one of the lucky people that stayed up till like 2 in the morning and got a piece that's only one of 100. Give me that out of the rest of the world. Because see, that gains value as it goes on. I have furniture in my crib right now. I bought it when it was like 100 and some bucks. All of a sudden now, it's in high demand now. It's up to like $600, $700 a piece. I got that shit when nobody else wanted it. I got shit in my crib that didn't nobody else want, that I got from overseas, that I know for a fact the value is high. Why? Because I like being different. I like being eclectic. I don't like having the same basic shit like everybody else having their house. Everybody's house look the same. I don't like that. So my thing is, I invite you and my black men and black women and people beyond to think outside the box. Let's not restrict, look, I'm bringing the point back home. Let's not restrict our black men and our black women in particular to this one linear line and saying this is how it should be. This is the only thing it should be. Because we're way more than that when it comes to blackness. And I'm speaking on that from experience. When it comes to blackness, can't nobody tell us what the hell to do. We that. When y'all think about standards, we that. That's why I never sit up and argue with somebody say, well, y'all don't complain when white people do it. Bitch, I'm not paying attention to what them hoes do. I'm worrying about what the fuck I'm doing. Baby, pay attention. When people thinking like that, when people sit out here thinking like that, somebody's like, well, white, you don't complain when white women do it. You complain when white men do it. Bitch, just when I fucking live my life around what them hoes do. Damn, them hoes ain't even got the same piece of hair I got. So why would I be looking at them for a hair product? Why would I be looking at them for an athletic gear? We work out differently. Our body's built different. Do y'all even pay attention? Like, I'm just concerned. I'm concerned about, look, what they say, are we okay? Are we okay? You know, I'm concerned, bro. I really am. Hold on, you say, I seen some white folks rocking Teflon too. Boom. And watch it start getting exclusively picked up. Now all of a sudden it's finna start selling out. Watch. You say, oh, where you buy your furniture at Noir? DM me. No IKEA rooms go. No, I'm gonna tell you right now. I get certain pieces from CB2. CB2 is my lick, and I visit local places here in LA. So I see some places and I'm like, oh, let me pull over to this furniture place. I won't even know the name of it. I just go in just to see. And then I see some stuff and I just get it. I just don't even be checking for names. But CB2, I built like my sofa is from CB2. You know what? Let me put it up here real quick. Sorry. Look, I might as well. Since we here, because I can tell you exactly. Let me look. Give me a second. I'm gonna show you what I have in my crib and even my homeboy was like, where the fuck you get that from? You can't get it, nigga, because I got it during the pandemic and and they ain't got it no more. No, you can't get it. Hold on. I'm gonna show you what I have in my crib. Screenshot whenever it come up. Hold on. I'm waiting for it to come up. Give me a second, guys. So I got to screenshot it just so you can see what I have in my crib right now. Screenshot, okay. And then let me put this up here. Image. You would never ever see somebody in a with this in their home. because people don't think outside the box like this, because they'll see something like this and they'll think, what I'm gonna do with that? There we go. So this is what I currently have right now, right? This is the sofa I have right now. Fits the screen. This is it's called the Cadet. I bought this from CB2. It's the seating of it. If you see down here at the bottom, the seating of it, it's almost like a school bus. Like those, remember those big plush seats that we used to have on a school bus? It's like that. It has like no side arms or anything like that. It's low profile in the back and all that stuff like that. Very simple because I like minimalism, right? So I got this going on in my living room right now, and I'm designing everything else around it. That's what I got going on right now. So it's like, for me, I never like buying typical stuff that everybody else had. You said, no, look at Andre 3000. I love the way he dresses. That's big facts, though. That's big facts. Look, I'm catching up on some of these comments. But so far, this is what I have right now in my crib. I'll give you like the remaining pictures of it and everything once I'm done. And once I finish designing everything, you'll see how it turns out. But again, my style is very eclectic. I like pulling different pieces from different areas and like creating and designing something that's unique to me. That's unique to my creative style. The funny thing is, all my guys friends that I usually hang out with, the homies, they be up over here because they like all my shit. They always be asking me, man, where you get that from? Man, how you do this? Man, how you do that? It's all based on me growing up and being different and being taught different things on don't do what everybody else do. Everybody else I know got the same type of sofa, same type of colors, same type of style, same type of glass table, same type of style. No offense to them, because originally I started out like that when I was trying to be cheap and just wanted something. But now since I'm grown and I want some more shit, I'm like, let me do something that everybody else ain't got. Let me do some shit that's gonna really fuck them up. So when they come over here and smoke, they can feel like they're in a different world. I'm telling you, once I'm done with my shit, you go know it. You go know it. That looks huge. It is huge. I'm 6'2". I can lay completely down on that sofa and can still fit maybe 1 or 2 people depending on their size at the end of the sofa. That's how big it is. It's about, I want to say it's almost 8 feet long. I want to say it's like 7.5 feet if I remember, because I measured it because I need to go get a rug. And I need a rug that's going to be big enough to, because I have just sold my cowhide rug. I need a rug that's going to be big enough to cover that area since I have a bigger sofa now. I believe it's 7.5 feet long. I believe it is. Yeah, I believe it is. Because, yeah, I have a lot of room left over at the end. But, yeah. You say, and it'll last a lot longer when you invest. Let me say, that smooth, buttery leather, I'm telling you, that whole rock. And I got that shit on discount. It was during the pandemic when they were having a hard time selling some stuff. I only got it for $1,000 because it was $3,000, and I think they were getting ready to discontinue it because it wasn't selling. I got it for like $1,000, like $1,300. I believe $1,300, and I managed to get free delivery up out of them because they were desperately trying to sell stuff. And I was like, man, I looked up on a $3,000 couch, on a $3,000 sofa made of real buttery smooth leather. It's good quality leather too. You can tell when you lay on that hoe, you feel like you laying on some warm butter. I don't even know how to explain it. That's why I was like, nigga, you grown. You grown, boy. You got some real shit up in here. Okay. Look, I don't even invite nobody over there. I'm like, hey, when you come over here, you gotta sit somewhere else. You can't sit up over here. You can't be up over here with all that. Don't bring no food over. Look, I started getting like my people now. You can't bring no food up over here. You can't bring no, keep it over there in the kitchen. Don't come over here with all that. Yeah. Hold on, let me read some of these comments. Hold on, I'm catching up. You say, oh wait, the top is too much. You say the top is too much. I'm reading on seeing what y'all was saying. You say, now Jaden pissed me off. Dang. Okay, fashion is weird. Yeah, I agree with that. And see, but here's the thing with fashion and different styles, and when you start going into those different styles, you can't go into that with a traditional mindset. I think that's where a lot of us fail when it comes to this type of situation. We kind of try to put our standard mindset on what we were born with and what we were raised in on other people and their styles. We can't do that. We can't, because we don't want nobody doing it to us. So why would we do it to somebody else? You say prints, boots, and platforms. There you go. You say I love fashion, so I look at it as art. I do too. That's the way I look at it too. But certain stuff, I'll be like, just like art, I'll be like, I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to not like something, but don't think about it as that's the end all be all for that person. I think that's where we make a lot of mistakes. We gotta let people live. So yeah, you said my son got like 10 pair. Look at you, look at you. You said, did they used to try Prince like this? Yeah, they definitely used to try. If I remember, my mom used to tell me about how they used to make fun of Prince, and Prince used to pull all the hoes. I ain't gonna lie, my mom told me a lot about Prince and Michael. Now, when you look at them, especially, look at their styles. Michael was dressing damn like he was in the military, and Prince was dressing like he was dressing off the sofa of somebody's grandma's couch of curtains. Dude was dressing crazy. He had the little ruffles with the velvet and the S curl situation going on. Bro, when you looked at him, you looked like, bro, now what you doing? Like what? But I think, and I still don't know because I didn't invest in Prince's sexuality like that. I didn't care. I don't give about what Prince was doing. I don't care. I believe maybe he was sexually fluid. I don't know. But that's his business. You know what I'm saying? Like, let people live, man. You said Prince was definitely androgynous. Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I was like, but I appreciated it though, because it was different. Again, it was something that I was not used to. It was something I had not seen before. So I liked it because I was like, okay, he's different. And then when I watched Purple Rain, I got it. I was like, he's different. I didn't look at him differently. Still liked his music. Still liked his movie. Still liked him. It never changed. So then now we have to ask the question for the Black community, what does that do for you? How does that make you feel? Does it impact you in any type of way? Let me know. And let yourself know. Write it down. I don't know. But that comes a time and a place where you have to kind of decide what's important for you to care about. Me worrying about what somebody else wearing, it don't bother me. And if it's not affecting me in some type of way, if it ain't affecting my money, my sleep, my health, my well-being, I really don't care. Now, when we talk about the agenda, right? Because I know a lot of us get confused when they say, "Oh, it's an agenda." Now, don't get me wrong. There are entities and people that do have an agenda against the Black community as a whole. Let me say that. But when it comes to Black men, yes, there is an agenda. I believe that it probably comes from the government more so than anything, because of course they wanted Black men out of households to not be able to control that. I believe that. Yes, I do. But that's my view on that. Because look how hard they push for families not to be together in family court. They push for the man not to be in that household. They push for the man not to be available to you to be able to provide for a child. They give incentives to the courts. For the more cases they give those incentives to those judges. So how is that not an agenda? If you're rewarding judges to make sure that you get this man on child support, even though he may be a good father, but you still get a cent. I forget how much they get. I think it's like 30-some cent off the dollar, or it is reversed. I forget how much it is, but they get a certain amount of cent per dollar off child support in a kickback at the end of the year. If that ain't an agenda, I don't know what the hell it is. But then we have to ask ourselves, who's funding the government to be funding that? Those are the questions you should be asking instead of worrying about this right here. Instead of worrying about Jonathan Majors and what he got going on right here. We should be asking those type of questions. We should be asking those type of questions on, okay, then what is this? Who's really pushing this? And what is this? It's okay to ask questions, but it's not okay to force your beliefs on everybody else and then shun people for not believing what you believe. Think outside the box. That's all I'm asking. That's my only input on that. That's it. That's all. All right. So I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna end that off because I don't want this to be too long for the people that have the discussion. If you want to continue a further discussion, come over to the Clubhouse. We have discussions and we just talk about whatever. When we ain't got to watch our mouths because YouTube and that algorithm, you know how they go. You can't cuss, you can't do whatever like that. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys stepping up and coming to hang out with your boy. Let me put this back up here. NoirLeblunt. And catch me next time. Like, comment, subscribe. Make sure that you are following the page so that way when I schedule a show, you'll be able to come up and be able to have a good time with us. All right. Until next time, guys, I'll let you later. Bye.